What's up, guys? It's Laura from Reading in Bed, and today I'm going to talk about my reading goals for 2017. Overall, I don't have a lot of rules and restrictions that I want to place on myself because I did a lot of that last year. I did a TBR challenge for the first bit of the year, the Triple Dog Dare, I think, TBR Triple Dare. In addition to that, I limited myself to 35 books for the year, and then I had to just reread after that. So I actually reread books for like the last 8, 9, 10 weeks of the year, quite a while. And then the biggest restriction I had that I didn't really talk about too much was that I only read authors that identify as women for the whole year. So I don't really want to do any of that this year. I'm not going to limit the amount of books. I'm not going to put a goal as to how many I want to read. It'll probably end up being between 50 and 75, which is fine. I thought about doing a year of reading men to make up for it, but then I decided no, although I am going to reintroduce men into my reading life. If you want to see what I thought about my year of reading women, I did blog about it, so I'll put a link down below. But I don't want to restrict in any way, like in terms of what kind of books or what kind of authors. I'm just reading whatever. And so far, for the first 4 or 5 days, it's been going really well. I do have some projects I'm looking forward to, though. And the first of those is called Author of the Year. So Adam at Memento Mori started this one, and he is doing Faulkner, and with this project you read an author's complete works in order of publication date. He actually did it last year for Cormac McCarthy, now he's doing Faulkner. And I've seen a couple of other booktubers. There's one doing Steinbeck, and there's a few others. I'll try to throw a few links down below. So I want to do this. I just don't want to choose an author yet. I guess what I want to do is try reading some debut novels of well-known authors, and when one grabs me, just sort of embark on the Author of the Year project then. And I also don't want to limit it to a year, because if I pick someone who's written like 20 or 30 books, it's going to take me more than a year, and that's just the way it's going to be. So my criteria is basically someone who's written a fair amount of novels, like 5 or more, and someone that is prominent enough that there's also some nonfiction out there that I could dip into, whether that be essays or a memoir, biography, critical, work, whatever. So with that, I have a bit of a short list, and now I'm just sort of ordering and putting things on hold at the library in terms of debut novels. So some of the authors I'm thinking about are Gabriel Garcia Marquez, David Adams Richards, it's a Canadian author, Charles Dickens, which I know is like such a basic bitch author to do for a project like this, whatever. Jonathan Franzen, more on that in a sec. I've got some other Franzen stuff going on. Jean Rhys and Murakami, who I've never read, but I think might be a good candidate. Dostoevsky and Zadie Smith. So those are just some of the ones I have in mind, and so I've actually received 2 of my debut novels already. I've been ordering things. So this is The Coming of Winter by David Adams Richards. I've read a ton of his novels, but not this one. Came out in 1973 when he was only 23 years old. And actually, now that I'm reintroducing men and looking at debut novels, I realized I'm going to be reading a lot of stuff written by guys in their 20s. I may end up regretting this. We'll see how it goes. And this is actually my very first new Canadian library book that I own, so that's kind of cool. The other one I've already got is Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens. So I've read A Tale of Two Cities. I've read 1 or 2 others. It's escaping me right now, but I haven't read the Pickwick Papers. So those are 2 I'm looking at. I'm expecting a few others soon. So speaking of Franzen, because he is on my short list for this, the next kind of big project I'll have on my blog is Franzen in February, which is an event I started last year, and it's just basically features, reviews, interviews, guest posts and stuff on Jonathan Franzen and his books. So you can consider this a call out for guest posts too if you have any opinions on Franzen that you want to express, or especially if you haven't read him and you want to read one of his books and review it. I would love to have you on the blog doing that. It was a ton of fun last year. Those of you who have followed along know that I'm a big fan, though I can be a little critical of him too, and it's all in good fun. It's, there's no Franzen outrage or anything like that. It's just good times. So I'll put some more stuff about that down below too, but that's coming up. Let's see, Canada Reads will be coming up. So the long list has been announced. I'll link that down below. And the short list is announced on January 31st. So I've been in talks with Kurt and Tanya at the Right Reads podcast about doing something, because we're just all sort of like we like Canada Reads. It's entertaining, but there's just some things about it that bug us. In particular, some of the themes that they choose. There really isn't a theme this year. It's just the book that Canada should read right now or something, which, you know, like whatever that means. So I'm not sure what we're going to do or if we're going to do something, but stay tuned. You know, even if we don't, I'll end up reading some of the books, I'm sure. There's a couple of authors that are going to be appearing in Edmonton in the spring that I'll hopefully be reading their books for, because I hate it when I get a book signed and like I haven't read anything by the author. I always feel like such a dork. Not that they would know, but anyways, every year we have a university here that chooses one book of the year, and I think all the first year students have to read it for their English class, but they also have the author come in and do public readings and stuff. So this year the McEwen Book of the Year is Station 11, which I actually haven't read yet, so this is a good chance for me to read it. I've been resisting it because there's just too much hype, and I always kind of get turned off by that. And then the Centre for Canadian Literature at the University of Alberta also does an annual lecture, and this year it is Heather O'Neill. So I have read Lullaby for Little Criminals, and I loved it, and I actually loved it so much I've been too scared to read any of her other work. But I just read a preview of her new novel in The Walrus, and if it's online I'll link it. It made it sound really good, so I will definitely not miss that and get my copy of Lullabies for Little Criminals signed. Let's see. Oh yes, and then every year, or most years, on the blog, I like to host a big, chunky, classic read-along in the summer. And this year, I think it's going to be War and Peace. So I don't have any details planned yet. I do have a couple of expressions of interest, so I'm pretty confident I won't be all on my own if I do this as a read-along. Most of my read-alongs are primarily on my blog, but maybe we can do some stuff here on BookTube too. This, I think, would be the longest book that I've ever done. Last year we did Cecilia by Frances Burney, which was about 1,000 pages. This is about 1,200 pages. And yeah, I don't think I've read a Russian classic for like 5 years. The last one I read was The Idiot, so this could be really good. Plus, there's a mini-series, a recent one, so you know, if I need help figuring things out, there's something I can refer to at least, unlike with Cecilia. So just watch for more on this. Like, I don't have any plans as of yet, but usually that comes during the summer. And I think that's about it. So yeah, like I said, I'm just like reintroducing men into my reading life, probably reading a lot of stuff by like 20-year-old guys. I don't know, we'll see, but just trying to keep things really open and unrestricted. Last year was fine, it was good, like I did slow down and savor things, and I read all women, and that was good, but I'm just looking forward to a bit more freedom this year. So those are my plans. I've really enjoyed watching everyone else's resolutions and plans and whatnot, so hopefully you enjoyed this too, and we'll see you next time.